all the presenters, everyone that attends this conference is so friendly, so willing to teach, so willing to learn from you too. So it's not just watching these videos, it's kind of getting that insight afterwards and around at dinner, at drinks, like all the other aspects of the conference besides just like that technical information.
So first of all, I hate myself for having to give this talk because I hate talks about gotchas, but unfortunately we have to talk about gotchas. What's wrong with this line 1? Right, and what's wrong with line 1 is it compiles without complaint, as does line 2, except for MSVC. And then it does something even weirder, of course. It prints, false, true, it doesn't accidentally, turn the string false into actual false. It turns it into true. This is a horror, right? I mean, did anybody ever really want the string conversion? No. Go to Godbolt, you can see for yourself. So it's worse than that. Unfortunately, there are very few things that will actually tell you. You can turn on higher warnings, and you will get some errors in some cases. Line 1 there, by the standard, should not compile, but it does on certain platforms. Is this really that bad? Is it really that bad? Yes, it is. Consider this. It can be in an interface, that bool, 100 files away, and suddenly you do something, quote, false, and it will compile without complaint, and it will not do what you expect it to do. So, would you spot this in a code review? Remember, that other thing is not actually in the code review, right? So, would you know that in your code review tool? Yeah, the compiler didn't warn you, and it's not good. So what can we do? We can use an enum class. This is a highly recommended practice for other reasons. But gee, it feels really awful that we can't actually use booleans. They're such a simple thing. Like, it's the easiest thing in the world, right? And what we're saying is we can't use booleans in an interface at all. That just kind of stinks. Okay. By the way, this actually came up in a real production code review. So this isn't just made up. It's actually a thing that happened to us. Luckily, we did catch it in the code review. So I wrote this thing called safe bool. Basically, it's very similar to what Bjarne presented in the sense that I wanted to have a Boolean that actually acted like a Boolean and didn't convert to all the nonsense. So this is what user code looks like. It looks like using a Boolean, basically. You've got your regular constructors, you've got your comparisons, the kind of function call that we saw before works right. You've also got logical or and. So let's look at how this is done. So it's pretty simple if you've got advanced C++, right? So we have all the constructors that are default. The one that's interesting is the Boolean one. Turns out that one's not explicit. You might expect it to be explicit. But it turns out I couldn't figure out a way to actually make it conditionally explicit. So if you know how to do that and are smarter than me, then let's talk about it. Down here, we're doing something from C++26. And we're basically deleting these overloads so that they will get caught. By the way, float also converts to bool. And so it's just a horror show of all sorts of things that convert, unfortunately. And then there's this one. That's interesting. What am I doing there? Anybody know? Of course, it's a concept. And that concept basically is integral, which includes bool, which then is removed. And that captures all the rest of the conversions that you don't want in that one line of code. Okay. Then there's a bunch of other stuff to make that other user code work. Like you have to have a Boolean so that you can do it in an if statement and do all the usual bool sort of things. There's operators of comparison, and there are those other operators that I just showed you. So this makes for madness. It's terrible. It's a high suggestion to use strong interfaces wherever you can. I would also say that I was very happy to see Chrono on a lot of slides. Chrono is the original and probably only strong interface that we have in the standard today. That went in 2011. I had something to do with that, and I can tell you that we have 0 bug reports for lousy conversions from that API. It has proven its mettle. There's a profile, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, we need it in the language.